Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2's best heroic weapons perform extremely well in the meta, can be built around or simply enhance builds, can be used on multiple classes to provide more value, and should absolutely be prioritized because they will carry you as you progress each and every one of your Space Marines into endgame. I'm Jefficus, and today I'm going to be telling you which heroic weapons you should unlock first in Space Marine 2. And what you're going to notice is that although there are phenomenal heroic weapons that perform very well on specific classes, such as the wrapped bolt sniper rifle for the sniper class, the best heroic weapons in the game are available to a variety of different classes and perform well on each and every class that they're available on. And the first of these heroic weapons is the melee weapon, the Argent Edge. The Argent Edge is a combat knife, so it can be used on the tactical, vanguard, sniper, and tech marine. Its heroic perk is Scathing Retort. The riposte window is shorter, but each perfect parry damages and staggers the enemy. And the weapon boasts an insane 18 weapon strength, which is pretty insane for a fencing weapon. This means that this weapon is very reliable against every Minoris, Majoris, Extremis, and Terminus enemy in the game whenever it comes to just raw DPS. Scathing Retort can also be used to stop nearly every enemy in the game from performing a full melee combo. Plus, the amount of damage that you're dealing every time you perfect parry is very significant. Against Majoris and Extremis enemies, the extra damage can allow you to reach certain breakpoints with your melee weapon that you otherwise couldn't reach before, while against bosses or Terminus enemies, every time you parry, it's almost as if you're doing the equivalent damage of a gun strike against that boss, and then that's usually followed by an actual gun strike. The Argent Edge just acts as a multiplier for your damage without actually changing your playstyle at all. It just enhances it. And if you're interested in making your leveling experience or the prestige grind significantly easier for the tactical, vanguard, sniper, or tech marine, then I highly recommend unlocking the Argent Edge first. The next weapon is also a melee weapon, and it's the Salamander's Power Sword. The Power Sword is available on the Assault, Bulwark, and Tech Marine, and the Nocturne's Retort weapon perk allows perfect parries to empower the blade and deal 300% more damage with the next light attack in speed style. Holds up to 6 power stacks, the parry window is smaller. The Power Sword is one of the most diverse melee weapons in the game because of its speed or power styles, but this weapon definitely promotes doing damage in speed style specifically without compromising any of the utility of power style, since you don't waste stacks whenever you make attacks in power style. So if you want to go into power style and deal with a big wave of Minoris enemies, you can still do that while saving your stacks for a boss, Majoris, or Extremis enemies. Additionally, while the base Relic Power Sword has a cleaving potential of 2, the Salamander's Power Sword has a cleaving potential of 4. This makes attacking into a crowd of enemies feel much smoother, as things aren't just being knocked around, they're actually taking damage and dying. What's interesting about the Salamander's Power Sword is how fast you're able to accrue damage stacks, as the weapon isn't like the Argent Edge where it's going to stop a combo entirely whenever you get that perfect parry. Enemies are still going to attack you with their full combo, and that's just going to leave you with a ton of extra damage potential. This weapon makes quick work of Majoris and Extremis enemies, especially if they're more melee oriented, and it also acts as a great DPS tool against Terminus and boss enemies such as the Carnifex, Hellbrute, Hive Tyrant, and the Vortex Beast. It's a great all-rounder melee weapon, and speaking of good all-around weapons, let's talk about the next weapon on the list, which is the Deathwatch Heavy Bolt Rifle. The Deathwatch Heavy Bolt Rifle is a primary weapon that can be used on the tactical, heavy, and tech marine classes. Its heroic perk is Auxiliary Grenade Launcher, which allows you to toggle to augmented vision mode to activate the Auxiliary Grenade Launcher. This gives your heavy bolt rifle access to 10 grenades, which can be refilled by picking up small ammo boxes or by hitting up a drop pod. Although this heroic doesn't boast any stats that are necessarily better than any of the other Relic heavy bolt rifles, the addition of having 10 grenades is a huge difference. Depending on how you're building your tactical, heavy, or your tech marine, these grenades can be used to clear Minor's enemies, deal damage to Terminus enemies, or just act as quick crowd control against Majors or Extremis enemies. The grenades add a ton of value to the weapon itself and just a ton of value to your playstyle because you're able to refill them so often. Additionally, this is the only primary weapon that can be used across 3 different classes without receiving a straight nerf to its stats, unlike the Combi Flamer, which is the other weapon that falls into the same boat, which is just the bolt carbine but worse with a flamer attached. What makes this heroic so good is that you're not compromising anything for 10 extra grenades, you're just getting 10 extra grenades on top of what the weapon is already offering. I see the Deathwatch Heavy Bolt Rifle as just a straight upgrade when it's compared to any of the other heavy bolt rifles, and a great pairing for the next weapon on the list. And that weapon is the Relic battleworn Plasma Pistol, which is a secondary weapon that can be used by the Tactical, Assault, Bulwark, Heavy, and the Tech Marine, but I highly advise against using it on the Assault and the Bulwark. This is because of the heroic weapon perk Overcharged Plasma Coils, where this weapon only fires charged shots with increased damage, but charge time is longer. The Assault and the Bulwark often rely on their secondary weapon in order to get contested HP back, and the charge time for the Relic battleworn Plasma Pistol is simply too long to make it reliable for getting your CHP back. Instead, what this weapon should be used for is as a pocket nuke. Because the Tactical, Heavy, and the Tech Marine already have primary weapons that they're leaning on to get their CHP back, this weapon can be most effectively used on them in order to just clear hordes of Minoris, Majoris, and even Extremis enemies at times. It does a ton of damage, and you can even use it to chunk the HP of Terminus and boss enemies. The wrong way to use this thing is to equip it and not use it, so make sure you're getting as much value as you possibly could by actually firing this weapon off whenever you can. And it's honestly one of the most fun and satisfying weapons to use in the game. It's strange to go from the Relic battleworn Plasma Pistol to the last weapon on this list, which is the Retribution's Bequest Heavy Bolt Pistol. Because it's a heavy bolt pistol, it can be used by every single class in the game, and unlike the Relic battleworn Plasma Pistol, you don't immediately see the difference in using the weapon over the regular heavy bolt pistol. But the heroic perk No Help Is Coming allows this weapon to shoot at enemies with the Elite Scream status and immediately stop them from calling for reinforcements, and allowing your headshots, whenever this happens, to kill in one shot. The utility that this adds to a run and the damage that it adds to a run if you're actually hitting your headshots really adds up throughout the course of an entire run, since this is something that you're going to be running into in nearly every pack of Majoris enemies. It's not as flashy as the Relic battleworn Plasma Pistol, but its effect is extremely reliable, and its effect allows you to very easily add value to your team in any run. And although this was the final weapon on the list, this doesn't invalidate any of the other heroic weapons in the game. I just don't think that they're as good as these 5 heroic weapons. I think that these are the weapons that every new player should prioritize unlocking whenever they're getting into Space Marine 2 and leveling up their classes. Some honorable mentions include both of the Thunderhammer heroic variants, the Encarmine Power Axe, the Wrapped Bolt Sniper Rifle, and last but not least, the Chains of Duty Heavy Bolter on the Heavy class. Let me know what your favorite heroic weapon is in the comments below. Don't forget to like and hype the video and subscribe to the channel. As always, this has been Jefficus. I appreciate your viewership. The Emperor protects.